And what about the conversations that you and I have been able to have as well? So we've done the formal observation together and spoken in a formal way about the feedback for that.
Yes.
But there's been a couple of occasions where we've spoken on the phone or just caught up quickly when I've perhaps been in to see another participant. Have there been any occasions when that's been valuable?
I think it's valuable every single time we speak, because regardless of how long or the duration of the conversation, a conversation, whether it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes, is always, as I said earlier, as important. It could be, for example, that obviously when we do a lesson observation together, we always catch up after. But because of the time constraints that we're talking about, sometimes it may not be possible to have that formal meeting, and I know other mentors will probably feel the same as well. So it's good to have maybe a scheduled phone call that could last maybe 10 to 15 minutes, as easy to fit into our day, as I'm sure it'll be easier for you to fit in as well. And that could happen maybe once every half term, etc. Again, it's highly focused. We're talking about, we don't have a long agenda as part of the conversation that we have with the phone calls, but having those one or two things to talk about can really fine tune and help us along.
Yeah, kind of getting to the heart of the matter.
Exactly.
Yeah. And there was anything specific useful in terms of your concern about assessment with your participant this year? So we ended up having quite a short but quite valuable conversation about reframing your expectations slightly with your participant in assessment.
Yeah, there was a particular issue with marking, and we have a whole school policy on marking, as does every other school as well. As experienced teachers, we are hardwired to follow the policy, and we are good at doing our jobs, and that's why we're mentors in the first place. We think in a certain way, we're good at what we do, but then we somewhat expect our participants to do the same thing, and that is, in my experience, that when that happened to me, that I was quite naive to expect my participant to do the marking in the same way. Where, as a matter of fact, I realised that I didn't even go through how to mark a book. So then, looking back at the PDF, looking at marking, I realised that actually it helped me to understand that the behaviour management was a probably bigger issue than the marking at that particular period of time. When I had that conversation with my SLT, with my line managers, that then allowed us to all refocus on the behaviour management aspect, because clearly at the time that was a much bigger issue than the marking, which the marking could have been sorted out later on.
Yeah.
But it allowed us to have a common perspective on the development of our participant.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. That's
Thank
great.
you very much.